All right, here we are. Section 3.1. We're talking about parallel lines right now. Now, we're not really going to get really in-depth today on parallel lines. Tomorrow, we're going to hit quite a bit more about parallel lines, okay? So today, we're just touching on it is basically what we're doing. Here's two lines right here. And we talked already, before we started recording, about what parallel lines were. They're two lines that lie in the same plane that do not intersect. Everybody got it? Now, remember, these are lines. So lines do what? Yeah, they're straight, but they do what at the ends?
Stop.
Do they stop? Do lines stop?
No,
They keep going, right? It's completely opposite. They keep going. Lines keep going. I don't know who would say stop. But they keep going, all right? Line segments stop, okay? But this is a line, even though I didn't put the arrows on the end, all right? So they're lines. They keep on going in both directions. Now, in order for me to say they're parallel, you can't just look at them and say, well, they sure look parallel to me, all right? You can't just say that. You have to look at the picture and be able to tell. A lot of times they'll do this. They'll put an arrow not on the ends, all right, but they'll put one, and it doesn't have to be right in the middle. It's just somewhere in there. All right. If they and in the book, a lot of times they'll do them in a different color, like this. All right. So like if you had, let's not even do that. If you had an arrow here, that arrow just represents it's a line. Would you agree? But what does the red arrow represent? It represents that they're what? Parallel. That they're parallel to each other, okay? So watch. If this is, we'll call this line L, and we'll call this line M, all right? These two lines are parallel. If I wanted to show you, remember we always learn vocabulary and we learn all these symbols. Remember we've learned a lot of symbols already, haven't we? We've learned a symbol for line segment, for perpendicular, for, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, right? Well, we also have a symbol for parallel, and it's like this. Watch. Line L, if I wanted to say line L was parallel to line M, it's just two straight up and down lines. That's all it is. Pretty simple. Okay, that means parallel. So when I look at this, how would I say this? I would say what? I wouldn't just say L, I would say line L is parallel to what? Line M. Okay, line L is parallel to line M. That's what that symbol right there means. I forgot to mention that in the first class. I'll have to remember tomorrow to say that. All right, you with me on that? Okay. All right. I think we're done with that.
Oh, we're done.
No, I said with that. All right, now I got a little different situation. Now, it seems like, why in the world did I talk about parallel? Because I don't think any of these lines are parallel. Do they look like they are? No, they're not. And again, we can't always go by what they look like, but I'm telling you right now, they're not parallel to each other. Okay? We listen? All right, so we've got two lines, and look at this line right here. What does it do to these two lines? Give me a good geometry word. Intersects, right. Intersects these two lines. If you have a line that intersects two or more other lines, we call that thing a transversal. All right, so let me put a little arrow here. So that line right there would be called a transversal. All right? Because it crosses, it intersects two other lines, two or more. Okay, I just have two here, but if it intersects two or more other lines, we call that thing a transversal. So let's call this something. Let's use L and M again. They love using that in the book, so I'll use it up here. All right, so L and M. And we'll call the transversal, we'll call it line T. Is that all right? T for transversal? Makes sense? All right, so I've got line T, I've got line L, and I've got line M. Now what we're going to do, again, I said at the beginning of this class that we're going to do a lot of vocabulary today. So this is where it really starts. We've already talked about a few things. We've talked about skew lines. We've talked about parallel lines. We've talked about a transversal, right? We've learned how to label parallel lines. So we've learned a lot already, but this is the main part of what I want you to get today. You've got a bunch of angles that are formed here. Let's number some of these angles. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you think I'm going to call that? 6. Yeah, how about call that 12? No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'll call it 8. All right, doesn't have to be called that, but I mean, I just went in order 1 through 8. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now, there's different relationships between some of these angles. The first thing I want you to see is this. Bless you.
God bless you.
Look at this group of angles. Do you see there's 4 angles up here? And there's also 4 angles down here, correct? Look at the ones that are kind of in the same spot, in the same place. Look at angle 1. Bless you. Angle 1 is in this top left-hand corner of this group of 4 up here, isn't it? You see it? If I go down to here, which one do you think matches up? What do you think corresponds to it? 5 does. You see? Because angle 1 is in this top left corner. Look at angle 5. Where is that in this group? It's in the top left corner. Would you agree?
Yes.
So 1 and 5 kind of match up with each other, don't they? Now, I don't know if they're equal to each other or not, but we do call these corresponding angles. Now, you do have to know the names of these things. This is important. This is definitely something you want to write down. Corresponding, and I'm just going to put the symbol for angles. Is that all right? These are the corresponding angles. It's the ones that match up with each other, that are basically in the same spot. 1 is in the top left-hand corner. Angle 5 is in the top left-hand corner. So angle 1 and angle 5 are what? Corresponding angles. So let's list all the corresponding angles. They're not the only pair, right? But it is. So angle 1 and angle what? 5. Now, I didn't say anything about them being equal or anything else, did I? Okay, all I'm doing is just seeing the relationship. I'll use that word a lot. The relationship between these angles is that they're corresponding angles. You with me? So give me some other ones. What about angle 2? Right, good. You got it. Angle 2 and angle 6. Angle 3 and angle 7. And angle 4 and angle 8. Good. Do you see how they match up with each other? They're corresponding angles. And that will be asked on a quiz or a test. You're going to see some lines, a couple lines, cut by transversal, and I'm going to say, what's the relationship between angle 1 and 5? What would you tell me? They're corresponding angles. Very good. Everybody got that? It's not too hard, is it? So everybody sees that group of 4 here and that group of 4 down here, correct? The ones that match up with each other, the ones that are in the same spot, the ones that are corresponding are corresponding angles. All right, good. Let's introduce another word. Look at 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're all in between these two lines, aren't they? See, I got my two lines like this, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all in between. So what kind of angles do you think we'll call those? How about a little fancier word with the word in it? In what? If it's inside, it's in the interior. Good. Interior angles. Very good. All right, so let's list all the interior angles. So what did we say already? Angle 3, angle, oops, let's write that angle symbol a little better. Angle 4, angle 5, and what? Angle 6. They're all interior angles. Everybody see it? Because they're in between those two parallel lines. Oh, almost misspoke. They're not parallel, are they? We don't know they're parallel. They're between those two lines, L and M. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do you see how they're inside there?
Yeah.
All right, well, if we have interior angles, what do you think your next guess is? Exterior angles. So let's write those down. So exterior angles. And let's list those. Which ones do you think are the exterior angles? Good. 1, 2, 7, and 8. So angle 1, angle 2, angle 7, and angle 8. All right, so those are all exterior angles. We good so far? All right. Let's go to a different color. I'm tired of writing in red. Okay. Let's keep looking at the interior. Let's go back to the interiors. I got 3, 4, 5, and 6. But look at 3 and look at 6. There's actually a relationship between those, and they give that a special name. All right. Look, they're both interior angles, aren't they? Yeah. So they're going to be something interior angles. I got a 3 here, and my 6 is right here. They're on different sides of the transversal, aren't they? Yeah. But you look at 3 and 4, they're also on different sides of the transversal. They don't have the same relationship. But look at 3. 3 is up in this clump of angles, and 6 is in this lower clump of angles. Do you see it? They're basically complete opposites as far as interior angles. If I said, what's the complete opposite angle of angle 3 as far as interior angles, you would say angle 6, wouldn't you? Right? Because it's down here, it's on the other side. They don't call them opposite, they call them alternate. Alternate. Write that down. And where are they? They're alternate what? They're between the two lines, so they are what? Interior angles. I just shorthand interior INT. Is that all right? Yeah. So alternate interior angles. And after a while, I'm going to shorten alternate as well. But I'm going to write out the whole thing so you know how to spell it and that kind of thing. So the alternate interior angles. So angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. Make sense? All right. So 3 and 5 are not, because look, 3 and 5, they have something in common. They're on the same side of the transversal. 3 and 4 are not. They're like a linear pair, aren't they? So they already have their own name. But 3 and 6 Okay, 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. You're right. There's another pair as well. What is that? 4 and 5. Okay, so 4 and 5 are also, oops, that's right, 4. It really doesn't matter what order you put them in, but angle 4 and 5 are also alternate interior angles. You see it? See, angle 4 is here, 5 is on the other side of the transversal, and it's down below. All right, so it's complete opposite of angle 4. We call them alternate interior angles. Well, look, we talked about interior angles, we talked about exterior angles. So what do you think the next one's going to be? Very good. We're going to talk about alternate, and I'll shorten alternate to ALT. Is that all right? Exterior. I'll just shorten that to EXT, and then angles. I like shortcuts, don't you? You know? When I write stuff out, it's a lot better than writing all the words out, don't you think? Yeah. So alternate exterior angles. Let's see. Let's get rid of that circle, and let's get rid of this circle. Which ones do you think are alternate exterior angles? Good. 1 and 8. All right. You can't 6. 6 is not an exterior. Okay. You can only use exterior angles. So angle 1, it's not going to be 7, is it? Because it's on the same side of the transversal. It's not going to be 2 because they're a linear pair. It's going to be 1 and what? 8. That's right. So let's list them. So angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior angles. And what's your other pair? 2 and 7. Very good. So angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. We're going to use that a lot. Okay, I promise you. We're gonna refer to it a lot. You got to know which ones are which. So don't look at this and say, "Oh, it's just vocab stuff," and he's not really gonna, give us like a quiz just on vocab words. But you do need to know which ones they are, because I am gonna quiz you, because there's gonna be stuff that says, "Okay, what's the relationship between angle 4 and 5?" What would you say? 4 and 5. What are they? Alternate interior angles. Okay. What about 1 and 8? What are they? Alternate exterior. What about 2 and 6? Corresponding angles. That's right. Okay, you follow me? So that's the kind of stuff that you're gonna get. You're gonna get a picture with a line with a transversal, whole bunch of angles. You have to tell me what the relationship is. When I say what is the relationship, it means which one of these words is it. Okay, there's one more type. Look at 4, and don't look at 5, but look at 4 and 6. Do you see how they're on the same side of this transversal?
Yes.
Okay, I had a book that used to call them same side interior angles, and I kind of like that. But this book uses a different one. They call them consecutive interior angles. Consecutive means one right after the other. Consecutive interior angles. Make sure I don't go over. I went over on the last class, and now I'm gonna have to edit it out. Okay, so consecutive interior angles. So watch. 4 and what do you think is consecutive interior with that? 6. They're on the same side of the transversal, right? 4 and 6 are consecutive interior angles. Again, I haven't learned anything today, whether they're equal, whether they're supplementary, whether they're, whatever. I haven't learned anything about that. Tomorrow we will. All right, I'm just learning the names right now. So 4 and 6, what else? 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. Oops. Angle 5. All right, those are my consecutive interior angles. And that's what the homework tonight's going to be. They're going to give you some pictures, and they're basically just going to tell you, okay, list the consecutive angles. Or they're going to say, angle 1 and 5 are what? What's the relationship between 1 and 5? You would say? 1 and 5? Corresponding angles. What if I said 3 and 5? Consecutive interior angles. What if I said 3 and 6? Alternate what? Alternate interior angles. What if I said 2 and 7? Okay, you get it? Okay. That's the kind of stuff they're going to be doing. It's all vocab kind of stuff, and we're good to go. All right, I think that pretty much covers it. Let me think what else I can tell you. I think that's about it. Okay, so we're doing a homework tonight, and it's a worksheet, section 3.1. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I did this in the last class. I can stop now. I want to show you about the digital locker. Have you seen the digital locker on your teacher ease? I'm going to show you that. Yep, 30 seconds.